We're just about halfway through the 2020s somehow, so I'm gonna rank the highest grossing movies of the decade so far. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and welcome back to another video. So today I've got a fresh new tier list, as I'm doing a tier list ranking of specifically the top 20 highest grossing movies of this decade. These are movies that have come out from 2020 onward, and I've got my set of tiers that I'll get into in a second. But before I do, hit that like button, comment down below what tiers you would place these movies in. And of course, subscribe and hit that notification bell to help reach my goal of 150,000 subscribers here on the channel. It would mean a lot, but I say we just dive into this thing. All right, so the tiers I have are S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, F tier, and haven't seen because there's two pesky movies on this list that I haven't watched. Let's just get into it. These are fully randomized. Again, top 20 highest grossing movies of this decade, the 2020s so far. Kickstarting this thing, we've got Top Gun Maverick. Ladies and gentlemen, what better way is there to start? I'm going S tier. Top Gun Maverick was the movie of 2022. Not only of that summer, I mean, that summertime was special, but of the entire year. People were going to the theater to see this thing who hadn't been in this entire century. Like, they hadn't been since the 90s or the 80s. They were coming out of movie-going retirement to see this thing. It was an event. Tom Cruise delivered the practical stunts, you know, the actual actors flying these jets. It was incredible. Really just a totally gripping, awe-inspiring movie. A masterpiece, dare I say. I know, I don't throw that word around a lot, but I think Top Gun Maverick, it's applicable to. It is one of the movies of the decade easily, and so it deserves to be an S tier. Next, we've got Barbie, which was the cultural phenomenon of like 2023, the summer of, which was almost 2 years ago somehow. I don't know where time is going, but I'm going to say Barbie, like, is a straight-up movie for me. I'll throw it in C tier. It's got its moments to shine. I was never, like, over the moon about this one. It's about a middle-of-the-road movie for me. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever watch Barbie again. Other times I'm like, you know what? I could watch the I'm Just Ken scene on YouTube right now and get a real kick out of it for about 5 minutes. So, just depends on my mood. But when it comes to Barbie, it's a fine movie. I saw it twice in theaters. No desire to rewatch it again anytime soon, but undeniably this phenomenon in the moment, and the soundtrack slapped, you know, Dua Lipa, Dance the Night Away. I'll have that song on sometimes when I'm on one of my walks, no shame about it. Next, we've got F9, The Fast Saga. I've unfortunately had to endure this movie, and because of that, I'm putting it in F tier. This movie stinks. It might just be the worst movie in the entire Fast and Furious franchise. This is where, I mean, things were already ridiculous, but this is where things went to a whole nother level of absurd. We go to space in this movie. It's just like, I'm done. I'm fully checked out here. This is the movie where I was already burnt out on Fast and Furious, but I was like, I'll watch it so I can watch Fast X. That was kind of a mistake, because Fast X wasn't much better. This movie's a stinker. Maybe the worst of the Fast and Furious movies. Beyond checked out at this point, so F9, F tier seems fitting. Next, we've got Deadpool and Wolverine. I adored this one. I saw it multiple times in theaters and had a blast with it. I am aware a lot of people complain about, oh, it's just playing into nostalgia. Same thing that applies to what people say about No Way Home. To each their own. In my humble opinion, I believe this movie rules, kicks so much ass, and has a lot of heart. So when it comes to Deadpool and Wolverine, I adore this movie. I could definitely go S tier on some days, and I have in the past, but I'm gonna go top of A tier with it right now. I believe it's around number 8 on my personal MCU ranking as of now, and I look at this and I go, well, there's another MCU movie on this list that I have higher. I feel like that should be reserved for S tier, so S is like the true elites. As much as I enjoy Deadpool and Wolverine, and it was like a top 3 movie for me in 2024 last year, I can't go S tier at this moment in time. It's still very high for me, though. Next, we have No Time to Die. I was shocked to see this as one of the top 20. It was the final Daniel Craig Bond, and I was just unaware of how well it actually did at the box office, so kind of sneaky a top 20 movie on this list here. I'm going to put this one in B tier. I've seen it one time in theaters, and I had mixed feelings on how they brought this version of Bond to a close. Spoiler alert, they kill him. I don't know. I haven't thought about it since theaters, though. And when I look at the Craig era, I go Skyfall, I go Casino Royale as the top dogs. Everything else is competing for number 3. Is this number 3? Is Spectre? Depends on the day. Quantum of Solace, probably dead last. Rami Malek's villain, solid, creepy, but the movie hasn't had like a lasting impact on me like, say, a Skyfall or Casino Royale, so I'm settling with B tier for it. Still a very solid Bond flick. Next, we've got Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. If you know me, you know I'm not crazy about this. There are moments I dig. Sam Raimi's directorial style gets to shine through here at times, and I mean, there were like moments when I first watched this movie where I was like, oh my god, like when they brought in the Illuminati and we saw Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, I was like, the future is here. We're here. I'm ready. And it just wasn't the case. Every member of the Illuminati got turned to spaghetti noodles pretty much in the next 10 minutes by Wanda, and I always go back to this point I make, and I'll die on this hill. I believe that Multiverse of Madness has an identity crisis. Does it want to be WandaVision 2.0 or a Scarlet Witch solo movie, or does it want to be Doctor Strange sequel? And it's constantly battling internally with itself. Because of that, I think I have to go like C or D tier with Multiverse of Madness. Some cool shots can't save it. Yeah, I'll go D tier with Multiverse of Madness, honestly. It's one of my least favorite in the post-Endgame era, and really just such a frustrating experience because the potential was there. Speaking of a movie that had a lot of potential, we've got Jurassic World Dominion. This one sneaked into the $1 billion club. I believe it's like dead last on the $1 billion club list in terms of money earned. It doesn't surprise me that this one is the weakest of the Jurassic trilogy in terms of pure entertainment value, and the plot sucks here. We're not even dealing with dinosaurs half the time. We're dealing with like genetically advanced locusts. Like, this is some biblical plague plotline. It's very bizarre. They bring back like the 3 main characters from the first Jurassic. You want to talk about nostalgia bait? That is nostalgia bait. No Way Home actually has a reason for the other variants to come back. There was no reason really for Goldblum, Sam Neill, and Laura Dern to be in this movie. They just wanted to do a No Way Home. It was a fad in 2022 following the success of No Way Home. Look, this movie, very, very flawed and the least memorable of the Jurassic movies. I'll say it with my chest, it's the outright worst Jurassic movie. I gotta put it in F tier because the movie stinks. It's like a 2 out of 5 tops. I'll put it right here over Fast 9 because Fast 9 is borderline unwatchable, at least with Jurassic. Sometimes the score can hit, and you know, there are dinosaurs, so there's that. I don't know. Wow, what a disaster that is. Next, we got Avatar: The Way of Water. I am not a fan of the Avatar movies. You guys know this. But at a certain point, I have to go, okay, is this actually on the same quality as Jurassic and Fast? I think in the past, I've really disrespected Avatar in that sense, and I'm still going to disrespect it to most of you, but it's not going to go in F tier, because I do think visuals alone, which are the big selling point of this movie, the visuals alone put it a tier above Jurassic World Dominion and Fast 9. So I'm going to put this in D tier right here. I still don't really care for Avatar: The Way of Water, and I never will. I think the movie is a boring snoozer that's way too overlong, almost full of itself, and kind of just repeats the plot and major, beats of the first movie, just kind of in a different font, and it got away with it somehow. I don't know how a lot of people weren't as bothered by that. I think we're going to see the same thing happen with a third movie later this year. We'll see, obviously, but I will put it in D tier because as painful to sit through as that movie is, it is a better made movie objectively than Jurassic and Fast 9. So like I have to balance that into my subjective opinion as well. So D tier. Next we have Thor: Love and Thunder. I'm saying it, this is the worst MCU movie. It is. This movie's terrible. It's so painfully unfunny and just almost massacred the character of Thor for a bit there. I'm going to say this is F tier. I'll put it at the top of F tier because I definitely would watch it over the other 2 movies there, but it still stinks. The only saving grace here, I guess, would be, Bale is giving it his all as Gore the God Butcher, and you got like 5 minutes of the Guardians. But other than that, what a stinker Love and Thunder was. What a disappointment as well. The trailers rocked. I was fully hyped up for this one. And I remember feeling so deflated walking out of the theater. What an absolute disappointment. But on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, we've got Oppenheimer. This is my favorite movie of the decade. I'm putting it at the top of S tier. This is Christopher Nolan's masterpiece. It won him the Oscar, it won Best Picture. I adore it. And I listen to the score by Ludwig Göransson weekly. I wouldn't say daily at this point in time. There was a point where it was daily. But every week, I will listen to that score while I'm doing some editing or going for a walk to clear my head. It really just picks your mood up about 1,000 times. You can get some serious shit done if you're listening to Ludwig's Oppenheimer score. The movie itself, though, I just think is flawless, truly. And what's crazy, too, is that, there's this build-up to the ignition of the bomb, and then that happens, and the final hour of the movie might even be better than that, where you've got this, like, pure courtroom drama. RDJ won the Oscar, Killian. I mean, this is a phenomenal movie. I've talked about it a ton on the channel, so I don't want to spend too much time on it, but Nolan, moving forward, I think, is getting a blank check from the studios. They're like, hey, you know what? Do whatever you want. Like, The Odyssey, yeah, we'll throw $300 million at that movie because you made almost $1 billion on a movie about J. Robert Oppenheimer. Anything's possible with Nolan behind the camera. Next, we've got 2 movies I haven't seen. Despicable Me 4, boom. Minions: The Rise of Gru, boom. The Despicable Me franchise is an interesting one for me personally because I saw the first film in theaters, I saw the second film in theaters, and then I think I just grew out of it. And then, I think a third one came out when I was in high school, and so it just wasn't a thing I was interested in. So I kind of aged out of the Minions/Despicable Me movies. There was a point in time where I was like, Despicable Me is awesome. I'd probably still say it's a solid watch if I rewatched it today, but I just have never had the desire to go back and catch up on that franchise. I know these print money, the Minions, have become this craze all around the world, and they're instantly recognizable. You could say iconic even, but I've never been a huge Minions Despicable Me guy. I fell off after the second one. If you guys think I should actually, take time out of my day to watch more, let me know. And I will maybe give them a chance, because I know it's one of the biggest ongoing franchises with new releases every few years, so I could talk about it, maybe do a ranking of sorts. But that'd be really like the only reason I would seek them out at this point in time, because I feel like, they're just going to make those and milk the Minions franchise to the end of time, probably. Next, we got Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Wakanda Forever is a very hard watch, meaning it's emotionally draining and taxing. Now, I don't think the movie's perfect. I don't think the movie's terrible. It's a lot better than Multiverse of Madness, and it pays homage to the legacy of Chadwick Boseman, who played Black Panther really, really well. I'm going to put this at the back of B tier. It's not a movie I go to often, to be completely honest. I've seen it twice in my life, both in theaters. So I watched it, opening night, and went back and watched it again with my girlfriend. And then I just haven't thought about it since. There are some powerful moments here. It's got a bit too much going on with certain plot lines, introducing Ironheart. You've also got this whole Valentina Allegra de Fontaine plotline as well. So it can be a little messy, I guess you could say. That'd be the appropriate word, but still, Namor, very, very solid post-Endgame era MCU villain, and it does a good job of, passing on the mantle of Black Panther and setting up the future to maybe involve T'Challa's son taking on the mantle. So we'll see. I'll go back a beach here with Wakanda Forever. Next, we got Wicked, which I almost just broke out into song, and I may very well do it in a second. I'm fighting the urge. Whew. Wicked rules. It's nominated for Best Picture. In fact, this is my favorite movie of 2024. I always do this thing where I'll make a top 10 video, and I'll say in that video, I'll be like, this is how I'm feeling right now, and then a couple years will pass, or some months will pass, or weeks even, and I'll realize what my actual favorite is. It was Wicked all along. I should have put it at number 1. I said this in my review. I will stand by this. In terms of musical movies, this is the musical movie event of our lives. Part 1 and 2 of Wicked. Yes, we've gotten, Spielberg's rendition of West Side Story and the Les Mis movie. Lots of other big movie musicals have come out, but Wicked is the musical of this century. It's maybe the most instantly recognizable. People who don't even have a clue about Broadway are yeah, I know what Wicked is. And so to make it into a movie and adapt it and have everyone firing on all cylinders, it's just a magnificent production. I watched the special features on the 4K disc, and they really went all out with creating these practical sets and put so much care and attention to detail in the film. So because of that, I love it. It's got a great soundtrack I listen to all the time in the car. Wicked is S tier for me. I'm going to put it right here. It's an S tier film. Next, we have Inside Out 2. This was in my top 10 of last year. This is the 8th highest grossing movie ever made. If you would have told me that, a couple months before the movie came out, I would have said, no shot. Now, the first Inside Out made around $850 million. This movie did an absurd amount. It came close to joining the $2 billion club. Was a huge success, overperformed everyone's expectations, and to me, still delivered a very, very strong Pixar sequel, maybe the best Pixar sequel in quite some time. It really felt like a return to form for me. I was emotionally moved by this film, and the biggest praise I can give Inside Out 2 is that the film tackles some more mature emotions. And so everyone who saw Inside Out back in 2015, aged about 10 years, no matter what age they were, they could have been 10 when they saw it, 20, no matter what. And so this sequel feels like it's made for everyone who watched the first in theaters, especially if you were a kid when Inside Out came out, say in elementary school, middle school. Well, you're going off to college now, or you're maybe late years of high school, whatever it may be, you're dealing with this whole new set of emotions in real life, and the film caters to that. It tackles puberty, a concept we've all related to. We've all gone through puberty, or will, if you haven't yet. And so it's really a mature sequel from Pixar that got really clever with these new emotions, and the humor was there, the emotions, everything. I'm going A tier with Inside Out 2. I'll put it right here. I need to rewatch it, though. I've only seen it one time, which is very strange, but that just happens. Sometimes there are really good movies that come out, and you watch them once, you don't get around to them again. That's the case with Inside Out 2. Next, we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, a movie that rocks. I'll say it. It sends these characters off into the sunset. That soundtrack hit. I don't know. If I had to pick right now which Guardian soundtrack is the best, very difficult task. Very, very difficult. This has No Sleep Till Brooklyn. Obviously, the Dog Days Are Over at the end, but many other songs as well. In the Meantime was one that I was actually introduced to through this movie, and that song slaps. So, I'm looking at my tier right now. Is it S or A? I think I go A tier, top of A tier, over Guardians of the Galaxy, or excuse me, over Deadpool and Wolverine. It is over Deadpool and Wolverine on my MCU ranking, so that should come as no shock. But yeah, top of A tier, like bordering on S tier, but S is saved for like the truly elite films, and right now, that's what we've got in there. But Guardians 3, maybe the best Guardians movie. I go back and forth between 1 and 3. It's a constant battle I have with myself. Moving on. Dun, 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 dun. We've got the Batman, baby. I'm pumped for this sequel, which we'll talk about more. I've talked about it in a recent video I'll link up above. But when it comes to the Batman, I said this when it came out, and I think I stand by it. In terms of pure Batman storytelling, you know, Batman on the big screen, the character, the detective elements, all of that, this is the best version we've seen, making it the best pure Batman movie we've seen. Because of that, I will be having to put the film in S tier, because it is that great. I'm going to say The Batman is going right here in my tier as of right now. It's an S tier film, guys, and I know a lot of you will agree with this take, but I adore it. I remember seeing it 3 times in theaters, and I honestly, truly have to come clean here. This is a movie that had a profound impact on me. I saw it 3 times in theaters, like I said, and I haven't watched it since theaters. So it's been almost 3 years where I haven't revisited The Batman. The reason is I kind of don't want to, because I want to just forever have like those 3 theatrical experiences in my heart and be like, it was perfect every time. If I go back and I don't like it, which I doubt would be the case, but imagine if I went back and rewatched it, it was like, what was I thinking? It would hurt my soul. And I don't know, I'm too scared. So I kind of just want to savor this, but that's normal. I know that we as like movie lovers are big into rewatching things, but a lot of just common moviegoers or people who just watch a couple movies a year, they don't really rewatch movies a lot unless they're like true comfort movies. So this is one that's 3 hours. It's a time commitment, but damn, is it fantastic Batman storytelling, and the freaking Penguin car chase scene, cinema. I'll say it, cinema. Giacchino's score is just the icing on the cake. God, is it so good. Oh, man. Next, we've got Moana 2, which was a complete dud for me. I wouldn't say it's like F tier, but I am going to go probably D tier with it, like right there. I mean, the movie just completely missed the mark with the soundtrack, which shocked me to my core. Lin-Manuel Miranda's presence was missing, but also the movie was lifeless. To me, it definitely just felt like this was a restructured Disney Plus show that was made into a movie, and it made $1 billion, so Disney's probably going to continue to do this, but I was not a fan. Not a fan. I was like, wow, this is such a lifeless sequel. The first Moana is like a truly great Disney animated film, and this just feels so shallow emotionally. It really upset me. Next, we've got Spider-Man No Way Home. It's an S tier movie. Sorry if I hurt any of your ears there. Spider-Man No Way Home is S tier, okay? It is. I know my top 2 are Oppie and Top Gun Maverick. Is it over The Batman? Is it over Wicked? It's over Wicked for me. Is it over The Batman, though? I think this is where rewatchability has to win, and I am putting it over that. Both movies are elite for different reasons. Spider-Man No Way Home, I've said it, and I stand by it, is the definitive Spider-Man movie. Gives us all 3 versions of the character in live action, but it's really impressive storytelling, how they're able to intertwine all those different universes into one movie that flows together seamlessly. But you've got Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire coming back into the role. They don't miss a beat, but they actually come in and they help Tom Holland's version of the character out. They are the motivator for him in that film. They let him rise up from the ashes when he's at his lowest of lows. It's a fantastic movie. I don't understand the hate. I don't. I never will. People have turned on this movie and they'll continue to do so. I don't think I could ever turn on No Way Home. It's so awesome. It's a special event that I'll cherish forever. And then the final movie on this list is the Super Mario Bros. Movie. You know, this is a D tier movie. I'll put it like right here probably. You know, why not? I'll throw it right there in D tier. It's got its fun moments, a lot of Nintendo references here, but to me it kind of felt almost like a soulless product placement movie as opposed to like a compelling, heartwarming story. And it was so forgettable to me. Like, I grew up playing, you know, Mario Kart. I didn't have like this huge familiarity with Mario and the characters, but I just felt like everyone was phoning it in. Everyone was there for the paycheck in terms of voice acting, and it just didn't land with me emotionally at all. So that was a real big bummer, honestly. But that does it for my tier list ranking of all of the top 20 highest grossing movies of the decade so far. Let me know in the comments down below what tiers you would place these in, as well as which movie's your favorite and least favorite personally. Of course, subscribe and hit that notification bell and be on the lookout for more videos coming very soon. But that's going to do it. Thank you guys, as always, for watching, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.